in the media conference with Lal Goyal, which is brought to you by V4 News, Global TV, V4 Stream, Malnadu TV, News Gaon Se, Samvad Sarokar News, Organ Donation India Foundation and Gyan. Our endeavor is to enlighten you with the current topic. And today's topic is very, very important, relevant, and hot. And the topic is rise and fall of Indian media. But before I will go to the topic, I would like to inform that today is the Martyrs' Day. Martyrs' Day is marked every January 30th on the death anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi, the father of the nation. Mahatma Gandhi, who was assassinated on January 30th, 1948, led the country's freedom struggle with his non-violence movement. Mahatma Gandhi was assassinated by Nathuram Godse on January 30th, and the day is today known as Martyrs' Day. Media conference with Lal Goyal pays tribute to Father of Nation, Mahatma Gandhi, on this Martyrs' Day. Now, coming to the topic, that is rise and fall of Indian media. Without a free and independent media, true democracy is unattainable. Whoever controls the media controls the mind. Media is the communication, outlets, or tools used to store and deliver information or data. Indian media is among the oldest in the world. It dates back even before the reigns of Ashoka. Many of the media are controlled by large for-profit corporations which reap revenues from advertising, subscriptions, and sale of copyrighted material. As of 31st March 2018, there were over 1 lakh publications registered with the Registrar of Newspapers for India. India has the second largest newspaper market in the world, with daily newspapers reporting a combined circulation of over 240 million copies as of 2018. India has over 1,600 satellite channels, more than 400 are news channels, and is the biggest market for the news channels. Indian media, private media is in particular have been free and independent throughout most of their history. The period of emergency declared by Prime Minister Indira Gandhi was the brief period when India's media were faced with potential government retribution. The French NGO Reporters Without Borders compiles and publishes an annual ranking of countries based upon the organization's assessment of its press freedom index. In 2018-19, India was ranked 140th out of 180 countries, which was a setback from the preceding year, while Freedom House, a US-based NGO, rates India in its latest report as partly free. Some sections of Indian media controlled by businessmen, politicians, and government bureaucrats are facing criticism for biased, motivated reporting, behave like one party-owned or governing party-owned, and selective presentation. After the devastating earthquake in Nepal on 25th April 2015, in spite of India helping, tweets from Nepal trended effectively saying, "Go home, Indian media." Disturbed by corruption, Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal suggested on 3rd May 2015 to have a public trial of Indian media. On 8th May 2015, the then Information and Broadcasting Minister Arun Jaitley echoed a similar rhetoric, saying that there was a flood of channels but dearth of facts. Of late, a lot of mainstream media channels have been accused of printing and telecasting unverified and biased views, which they retracted later. In a few instances, content from Twitter's parody accounts was cited as a source. Indian mainstream media has been accused of showing sensationalized news items. In March 2018, the then Chief Justice of India, Justice Deepak Mishra, said that journalists cannot write anything they imagine and behave as if they are sitting in some pulpit. Paid news in India is the practice of cash payment or equivalent to journalists and media organizations by individuals and organizations so as to appear in their news article and to ensure sustained positive coverage. The practice started in 1950s and has become a widespread organized activity in India through formal contracts and private treaties. This practice started in 1950s and has become a widespread organized activity in India through formal contracts and private treaties. For a long time, media researchers focused almost entirely on the harmful effects of media, including the effects of media violence on aggression, the media's role in increase racial and gender stereotype and its potential to shape people's perception of the world as a dangerous place. Indeed, since the dawn of talking movies in the 1930s, debates have raised about the potential anti-social effects of media. Media affects rights of accused and victims, observed Supreme Court. These examples are now becoming familiar. Selective disclosures to the media affect the rights of the accused in some cases and the rights of victims' families in others. The media does have a legitimate stake in fair reportings, but events such as what has happened in this case shows how the selective levels of information indulging the disclosures of the material, which may eventually form a crucial part of the evidentiary records of the criminal trial, can be used to derail the administration of criminal justice. If TV news conveys the message that ours is a bad world, the news debates are for worse just ugly slanging matches between spokesmen of opposing parties. TV anchors, instead of moderating, starting yelling, browbeating the panelists, constantly interrupting them. A negation not just of the ethics of journalism, but of the rudiments of good manners. India has many TV news channels. No other country has so many. Let's add, nowhere else are TV debates so loud, so uncouth, so ill-mannered. True journalist interviewers are supposed to be firm with their subjects, not compliment or servile. But the abrasive and aggressive style of some of our TV anchors offends not just their subjects, but all viewers. And alarmingly, by manipulating TRP data, such anchors seem to have become role models for young TV journalists whose lack of professional expertise is obvious. Filing with the Registrar of Companies in the Ministry of Corporate Affairs have revealed that 5 Indian news media companies, NDTV, News Nation, India TV, News 24, and Network 18 are indebted to either Mukesh Ambani, the richest Indian and the owner of Reliance Industries, or Mahendra Nahata, an industrialist and Ambani associate, who is also on the board of Reliance new telecom venture Reliance Jio. Republic TV belongs to Mr. Rajiv Chandrasekhar, a BJP MP. India TV belongs to Mr. Rajat Sharma and another BJP MP. The hundreds of WhatsApp messages which were submitted to Bombay High Court by Mumbai Police clearly established collusion and power play between TV's anchor and ex-BARC CEO in manipulating viewership rating to give Republic TV an unfair advantage and cause huge financial losses to other news channels. The messages exchanged go on to refer to the appointment of secretaries, cabinet reshuffle, access to the PMO, and the workings of the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. The WhatsApp chats, which have come out in the Mumbai police charge sheet, in itself raises serious questions about national security. How financial frauds have taken place, and in that, how those people occupying high posts were involved, how conservations took place regarding buying of even judges, how journalists decided who will get what post in the Council of Ministers. The issue of national security may have been compromised. If official secrets may have been revealed to individuals, then it is a very serious offense. How we will strike, when we will strike, which day we will strike, these are all highly sensitive issues. All this raises question on the compromise with national security. And to discuss today about the rise and fall of our Indian media, we have a very, very elite, experienced, knowledgeable panel with us. I would like to introduce my first panelist. He is Dr. Bharat Kumar Raut. Dr. Raut is the former member of parliament. He is a renowned political analyst, print and TV journalist based at Mumbai. His research work on reference and interpretation of Gita in today's context was accepted by Tilak Maharashtra Vidyapeeth, Pune, and doctorate was awarded to him. While doing his post-graduation in Bombay University in political studies, Mr. Dr. Rao joined print journalism but soon shifted to television when Doordarshan, the government-owned TV channel, was launched in Mumbai. He worked for Marathi and later English news bulletins. He later shifted to Times of India Group, where he worked for Maharashtra Times, a Marathi language daily, and Evening News of India as a reporter. However, in his second comeback to the group, he became the executive editor of the Independent and the Metropolis on Saturday and E-Times. He was appointed as the executive editor and then the editor of Maharashtra Times from December 2000 to March 2008. During his tenure as an editor of Maharashtra Times, the paper became the highest selling Marathi daily in Mumbai metropolitan area as per the ABC survey. Later, he became the editorial consultant for Times Group till 2012. Dr. Raut was also resident editor of the Pioneer. He joined Zee TV network in 1996 and was instrumental in the launch of Zee News, the first back-to-back news channel in India. As a creative director of Zee Network, Dr. Raut traveled extensively in Europe and USA to launch Zee on the foreign land. Dr. Raut was elected as the Member of Parliament Rajya Sabha on 19th March 2008. He was nominated as a member of the Standing Committee on several ministries, including Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. Dr. Raut made his presence felt in the Rajya Sabha by delivering 186 speeches, many of them on international affairs. Dr. Raut also took up the cause to project the soft power of India internationally by organizing shows on Indian culture and traditions. The government-run Indian Culture Center for Cultural Relations, ICCR, later started organizing such exhibitions, Indian film festivals, and melas across the world. Dr. Raut has traveled extensively in USA, UK, France, Germany, Switzerland, Netherlands, China, South Korea, United Arab Emirates, and many other Asian nations. After completing the 6-year terms of Member of Parliament successfully, now Dr. Raut works as a media consultant for TV channels Live India, Hindi, and Me Marathi in Marathi. He is also senior consultant for Ad Factors PR Limited, India's largest PR firm. He also runs syndicated weekly columns in English and Marathi. He is a member of the Hindi Advisory Committee of the Ministry of Heavy Industries and Public Enterprises, Government of India. Welcome, Dr. Bharat Kumar Rao on our show. The rise and fall of Indian media. Dr. Bharat Kumar Rao, please.
Namaskar and Jai Hind. Today is the Martyrs' Day. So at the outset, let me pay my tributes to all those who have led their life for the construction and building of the nation. I also pay tribute to Mahatma Gandhi's memories. Having said this, now let me come to the point. I'm really happy that you have organized such a wonderful seminar on rise and fall of Indian media. This is really a matter of concern, though many people do not realize it in our day-to-day life. But surely I can say that we are at a rise for some point, and then we have started dripping. That dripping is so heavily and so sharp that soon everybody feels, and we fear that it will reach the rock bottom in no time. By explaining my issue to you, let me tell you how it progressed. Indian media, as you have rightly said, it is one of the oldest media and largest media of the world, but that is quantitatively. Qualitatively, are we at the top? We are not. We are not at the middle class. And here, when we talk, Mr. Lal, we only talk about the English media and that to television. I think media is much bigger, vast than English television media. I was going through, while you were talking, I was going through some surveys that shows that only 3.5%, remember 3.5% of Indian viewership, they watch English news media, and I'm talking about television. And the rest are regional. When I say regional, it means Hindi news media, that is the largest part, and then all Indian language media. So I will not talk only about English media, though the entire expertise of the nation, all the intelligence of the nation, when they talk about media, they talk only about English television channels. This is not so. They are must be effective for the people who are haves. Have in the sense of knowledge, have the sense of the knowledge of English language, and also influence in the financial sector. But they are not touching the core of the people. So whatever you may talk about English media, that does not necessarily mean the Indian media. Indian media is much larger than what we think. And therefore, I would be, when I talk about India and Indian media, it is mainly about regional language media and Hindi media rather than only English media. I work for English media. I participate in English media, but at the same time, I also realize and I know and I admit, I submit that this is not all. If the English media is touching perhaps my brains, the language media touches my heart. And whatever affects your heart is for long time. So I would be talking about also, please don't take it that when I'm talking about English media, it is about only English media. No, it is not so. I have worked for English media. I have worked for regional language media. I have worked for television and also work for newspapers. I work for in India. I work in abroad also. But here I'm only concentrating on Indian media. And when you say Indian media, it is English language and also the regional languages. When I say regional languages, it means apart from Hindi, that is our national language. So apart from Hindi, all other languages like Punjabi, Gujarati, Kannada, Telugu, Malayalam, Marathi, all these languages I am encompassing in my thought process. When I say that, yes, in Indian media is going down, down, and further down, it means that, yes, we are on a receding mode. We are only receding and not rising. This is perhaps because the Indian media is not given the proper attention by the government on one side, advertisers on the other side, and the people at large on the third side. So since that is the situation, we are always depriving the end reader, end viewer from what you are talking. Here I am also talking about, when I talk India media, I am also talking about the newspaper media. You are not touch this media, print media in this. Television is not everything. In English, if you remember, if you bear me out, it is called idiot box. Television is called idiot box. And if it is idiot box, we are only talking about idiot box, then perhaps after some years, people will think that we are idiots. I am not idiot, neither you, nor our viewers. So I would not be only concentrating on the television channels. Yes, television channels are the newest. Yes, you are the newest because you are on OTT platform. But the television is the most popular channels, media, and therefore perhaps we are concentrating on television. But again, I'm telling you, I will be dealing with television and print, and also now the new media, that is your media. So please forgive me if you will think that I am deviating from the issue. I am not, but I am trying to encompass everything in this issue. Indian media, that time it was only print. It started sometime in 150 years ago with the Bengal Gazette of Halley. So from that, the Indian media has started. Only yesterday was the anniversary of Bengal Gazette. This media has been growing, and further growing. But it was added with radio first, which we are forgetting, all of us. It was added by the radio. Unfortunately, for a long time, and even now, the government media is run by the central government, the union government. And Indian private companies are not allowed to run radio media. Yes, now the private radio channels have come, but they are not allowed to give broadcast news. What news they broadcast is not news exactly. So it is only the government's section that is working on that. So print and television, they are the only two media. That too in print. In 1972, in 69, it started in Delhi, but from 72, it started in Mumbai, and then it expanded like anything. It was an explosion of channels and media. In that, in the private channels, what we could generally call private channels. Private channels are running the media business, like newspaper channels. Newspapers are run mainly all of us are by government, by private companies. Even the television is run by private companies. It has adverse effect, and it has positive effect also. Since it is not a government media, television is not a government media, newspapers is not a government media, they are at liberty of doing the business on their own will and wish, and on their own risk. While the government, like radio, it cannot run on its own will and wish, because it is controlled by the government, and that government is controlled by a political party or a group of political parties. They have their own interests and vested interests. So here it is the private companies that is running the show. I'm now coming to television only. In television, there are, you give some figures. I'm not getting into figures, but there are in any regional language, there are at least 15 statewide regional channels. While there are Hindi channels, there are English channels, and there are some century cable channels going all over. They are broadcasting news. And when they are broadcasting news, with the news comes the views. And the views are very, very essential, very, very important and salient feature of any news bulletin that goes on. Now, what we see in television is that it is more views than news in the television. That has silent effect on the viewership. So definitely that controls your mood. The views given by television channels in the news, they control your views. They control your mind space, and that's why it is very, very important. For example, when the riots takes place, or unfortunate example I'm giving you, when riots take place, the frame of a news channel that goes all over, where writing is arsoning takes place, shooting is taking place, and we keep showing that has a silent adverse effect on anybody's mind. However educated you are, however cultured you are, if you see something 10 times in a day, then definitely it makes some impact on your mind, and that impact is long lasting. If somebody is showing only Muslims are killing Hindus, if it is shown 25 times in a day, then even the sensible mind will start thinking, oh my God, is it correct? It must be correct. Not is it must be correct. It must be right. That's why it is happening. So this is a silent, slow poisoning that is happening in Indian mind. It is not only the communal change. It is also in all other area. It is in social area, it is in economic area, it is in international relations area. Everywhere it is that slow poisoning keeps happening by the media, and that is in my opinion the biggest worry for Indian population. What is the remedy? Can we control the broadcast of television? There are some people that they say that no, there should be censorship. I think it is not correct. It is like khansi aa gayi isliye gala kat do. You can't do that. If the khansi aa gayi, you have to work on the cough, but you cannot cut your throat. That's why that is how it is working, and therefore there has to be self censorship. In my opinion, the remedy is self-censorship. Each channel, if they have their own censorship board, and if they, not every bulletin, every news cannot be checked, but at least sensitive news, if they are checked and corrected before they go on air, then surely that will have a very, very positive impact on the screen, on what is going to the people. Another thing, the people like me who are working for channels, who are working for newspapers, they also have to be given a proper education. A proper education, and that has to be ongoing education. You can't, it is not like a graduation degree. It, that once you do a 2-year or 4-year course, and then you take the degree, and all your life you remain graduate for that subject. It is not so. It is everyday education. Every day you have to be taught what is new, what is right, and what is wrong. So that online training has to be done. It is the learn while you are in job, that has to be done, and that has to be taken. That is taken care by every media house. It is not an easy task, as I say, but it has to be done. It is a money consuming thing. It will cost a lot for the media houses. But if the media, if they are earning something like 30% of revenue as profit, then at least you use 5% of that for keeping your journalists updated. And if you update your technologist for the technology, if you update your media relations persons for getting advertisements, in the same way, you should also keep educating the journalists for keeping themselves up to date. That is not happening. Yeah, unfortunately, I work for half a dozen news channels, and I've been being a broadcaster, being a participant. I keep visiting many channel offices. Nobody is getting on-job training, and therefore the situation is such that yes, I'm a media graduate, I'm a proper graduate, I'm a PhD. However, that my knowledge when I took PhD, when I took my graduation in media, that was some 30 years ago. After that, world has changed. Not only technology has changed, the mood of the people has changed, mood of the politicians has changed, mood of economists has changed, the economy has changed, and even the nation has changed. But I'm not updated on that. Why? Because I don't need it. Why I don't need it? Because my office is not asking me for that. If it is not asking, then why should I go and learn something more? So it is hand to mouth for me hereafter. But however, what I suggest is that if the media houses, they have some funds reserved for their on-job training, and their off-job training, as you do for your advertising people, your technical people, your management people, at the same time you also do it for the media people, then it will be more effective than not. So now if the media is going down, definitely I subscribe that credibility of media is reaching the rock bottom. At least Indian media is reaching the rock bottom with very fast speed. And if that is so, it will go back to its idiot box concept once again. Earlier, television was considered to be idiot box. Now also it is going to idiot box. People take the content of the media with a pinch of salt. That is not a good thing. That is not good thing for the future of India. Because if people start taking it for a pinch of salt, then it means they are not fully trusting you. They are taking you as a mild entertainment. Earlier, I'm slightly debating. Earlier, it was so that what was the main objective of running media was to inform and to educate. When Lokmanya Tilak and Dadabhai Naoroji and all those people, they were running it, it was for to inform and to educate. Later on, as we achieved freedom, then we got shifted it from educate and educate. Now it has so come that now the role of media, role of television basically is to inform and to entertain. Imagine that educate is gone and it has been replaced by entertainment. So we are more entertainers than informers. And if we are no more informers, we are no more educators, then what is our purpose? Then we can also wear a cap, big cap and become a clown. And clowns also do a lot of entertainment. So are we clowns? We are not. Therefore, we have to change that role again. We can say that we are to inform, to entertain, and also to educate. That educate has to be there. It cannot be replaced by entertainment. There has to be entertainment. There has to be film shows. There have to be drama shows. There have to be jokers. But at the same time, you have to have some content in what you are talking about. If there are only entertainment, then it is like circus. In circus, there have to be some animals come, some wrestlers come, all those come. But there are clowns also. But if the only clowns, if they start ruling the circus, then it becomes an entertainment show, and people don't go for to get only laugh for 3 hours and spend some 25 rupees, 30 rupees, 50 rupees, whatever it is the cost per sit. So therefore, if we want to save ourselves from becoming clowns, then better we do our sleeves right away and think what has gone wrong, and that is gone wrong because we are not keeping up ourselves updated. There's one more point. If you want, you can give.
Can you come the next round? I'm coming to the next one. Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you very much,
Dr. Raut, for giving your such a experienced views. And what Dr. Raut says that it is not only the English media we are talking or television we are talking, the media covers the entire thing. And he's rightly said that only 3.8% is the English TV reach. Otherwise, there is a Hindi and the regional televisions, then the newspapers, etc., and the radio. And he says definitely in his views, the media standard has gone down drastically and it is in the rock bottom. And even he termed that it is like a clown which is just entertaining the viewers, which is not a healthy sign for a good and healthy media. Thank you very much, Dr. Raut. I will be definitely coming back to you with a definitely in the next round. Now I am inviting my next guest, and he's Dr. Mukesh Sharma. Dr. Mukesh Sharma is the former Director General of Films Divisions of India and also the former Additional Director General of Doordarshan, working for the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting for the Government of India. He has been in the TV broadcast industry since 1992. He won the Best DD Kendra Award in 2001. He was instrumental in changing the fortunes of DD Mumbai and was the #1 regional Marathi Kendra in the country for a number of years. Dr. Sharma is the recipient of several national and international awards for the work done in the film and broadcasting industry. He also holds a PhD in journalism and mass communication. Currently, he is the Dean with the School of Branding and Advertising with NMIMS University, Mumbai. Welcome, Dr. Sharma on our show. Dr. Sharma, you have heard what our honorable former parliamentarian Dr. Raut has spoken. Now we would like to know the rise and fall of Indian media. Dr. Mukesh Sharma, please.
Thank you very much, Lal Goyalji. Good morning to all the panelists. Good morning, Bharatji, once again. Thank you for that insight, Bharatji. Yes, it's a long journey, and as you have said very rightly, that we are not only talking about just one television media, but we are talking about the entire media as a whole. That's what is today's topic. Yes, the Indian media is at its nadir, but what has happened, sir, is it's like one rotten apple has made the entire basket bad. And the rotten apple, we all know, is the idiot box. That idiot box has created so much of freedom has been given to it. And being in the government, I remember why the radio was not given that freedom. People may not agree with me. Now with freedom comes responsibility, and that responsibility has gone for a toss. Today is Bapu's Martyrs' Day, and I pay my tribute to the father of the nation. He had quoted in his lifetime 7 deadly sins. And if you ask me, those 7 deadly sins are very much concerned primarily with media too, because media is ultimately the face of the people. Whatever is in the society, the media brings it out. The first sin, what Bapu said, was wealth without work. The media is creating enormous wealth. If you ask me, this media has gone 40% of the 43% of the television channel primarily are news channels. And these channels, whatever you say me, with their limited resources, with limited show and with views only, without any news, just two people sitting in a room and talking. And so the production quality and everything is not as much budgeted as it is for other programming. So you are creating wealth without work. Number two, pleasure without conscience. I think all the journalists have lost their conscience as far as, again, television is concerned. I'm not again saying to the other media. I'll talk about the other media in the second round if we have the time. Third, knowledge without character. I don't have to say much. Recently, what has happened in the past, a journalist had too much of knowledge and he was talking everything. And today, what about his character? Where is he? He has said that everyone is a thief, everyone is a liar, everyone is bad in this country except him. And today, just see what has happened. Number four, commerce or business without morality, which is happening, sir. You can see the father of nation, 48, he died, and I think he must have said this around 40. How many years ago he said all these things, and they are as relevant today. Then science without humanity. Of course, it may not be directly concerned with it, but he has talked about certain people. We don't talk about science at all. Forget about anything in the media. Science is the last thing if we have to give coverage. Religion without sacrifice. Again, you have a facade outside. You may be a religious person, but you're not doing any sacrifice to the people what should have been done. Slightly deviated from media, but somewhere it concerns. And politics without principle, the 7 deadly sin. They are doing politics on behalf of politicians. They are doing politics on behalf of so many people. All the media is entirely controlled by people who have the money. So as Bharatji has said rightly, the views, if they are bombarded all the time on us, yes, we'll tend to think, okay, something bad is happening. But I'm actually, I would tell you, little happy about the whole thing is, because if you ask me truly, there is a drop. As Bharatji has said, there is only 3.5% of the English viewing. Yes, there may be viewing in other part, that is the other language media or the Hindi media. But the drop in broadcast news viewing is now being compared to the fall in print readership seen by newspaper when TV channels arrived. Right? So either this media, television media, has to change or it has to perish. So what they are doing is they are bringing about a change in this factor, which I said earlier also, creating ruckus, creating so much of maramari, so much of confusion that everyone would like to watch it. As I said in my earlier program, Lalji, if you remember, if there is a classical music happening and if there is some fighting happening at the road, I would like to listen to that fight, what is happening, what ruckus is happening, rather than listening to the soothing music. Because that is my mentality. That is what I am. I as a human being, I have this. And if you bombard me with all these things all the time, I tend to become irritated. I tend to become irritable. The entire society today has become irritable, if you ask me. Nobody has the patience. Recently, sir, I have started my own YouTube channel, which is, I'm talking about Kahaniyon Ka Anokha Andaz. I'm not doing anything, sir, telling just 2.5 minutes or 3 minute stories, just trying to say, look, this is how also the world looks. Try and keep it like this. And this is primarily for media people, only for people who should know how it should be done. But unfortunately, it is not happening. But as I said, the good thing is, because of the arrival of the digital media, the digital natives, the millennials, what we call, which is a huge viewership, are tweaking out of traditional format. And they are now into digital formats of news, television news, they are not watching. And that is why, if you ask me, within a decade, this television news is going to really decline, or else they are going to continue like this so that we don't leave them and go away with their bombardment of shouting and firing and, verbal diarrhea all the time. So otherwise, live blogging, Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, they are all providing you small 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes of news, and they take care of your information, education, and whatever little entertainment you have. But again, as I said, because of we are nearly 130 crores. It is possible, sir, tomorrow we may have 130 crores YouTube channels also. Everyone may have his own channel. There is no control there also, which is also very dangerous. But as I said, it is like technology always find some ways or means to come out of one and go to the other, to continue, broadcasting and showing people what is happening around in their own way, till such time somebody comes and says that, hey, we need to do some regulations about it. So those regulations part are not happening. But as Bharatji said, I will slightly not agree with him when he said कि खांसने से गला तो नहीं काट दोगे. Sir, खांसने की बात नहीं है, इस वक्त गैंग्रीन हो गया है, तो पैर काटना पड़ेगा सर, मुझे ऐसा लगता है. Because things have gone much beyond, sir. Recently, अभी महाराष्ट्र में क्या हुआ, we all know about it. openly, sir, everything has happened. Now it is coming out from those, it's like opening up the Pandora's box. So many skeletons out, coming out. And the way I think our present government here is doing is a fantastic job. Because they need to know they have responsibility. They need to know that without responsibility, they cannot have any freedom. And till such time, this learning is there. This understanding is there that if they want freedom, then it must come out with a proper, their presentation of news, their writing of news, the quotients, news quotient. Nobody is taking care of those quotients. There are various quotients of news, sir. I've written a book on this, which is known as ABC of Broadcast News. I wish people would see, sir. This is the mini book where I've written how a news should be made and how it should be delivered to people. How the news, it is just not easy making two people sit and start talking. Everyone is doing that. What is happening in the other part of the country, we do not know. So my thing is this, that it needs, yes, something, some deep insight in it. People should be told about it. Somehow they should, either the government come out or, socially, how we do it. It's all, I leave it to elders like you and people who are sitting here, especially Bharatji and others, to take it forward and try and see what best can be done in this moment. At this moment, I can only say this, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sharma. And we can understand because you have worked so many years in the Doordarshan and in the media, and you know what is the reality. And in spite of that, if anybody sees today's condition, definitely a person have a pain and agony. And that's what has come out from your views. I would not like to go and again repeat those things because already we have two more panelists and then the next round is a heavy round. So now I would like to thank you very much, Dr. Sharma, for giving your views. Now I would like to go to my next panelist, and he's Advocate Ramesh Kumar Sharma. Advocate Ramesh Kumar Sharma is the chairman of Gyandeep Shiksha Bharati Senior Secondary School, Mathura. He's a leading lawyer of Western UP. He's regularly appearing in Supreme Court and different high courts, including Allahabad, Madhya Pradesh, Delhi, Andhra Pradesh, etc. He is extensively practicing constitution, civil and taxation matters. He is also rendering social services. He is a secretary of Kans Nikandan Trust, Mathura. He is founder secretary of Civil Lawyers Forum and president thereafter. Welcome, Advocate Ramesh Kumar Sharma on our show. Advocate Sharma, you have heard what our earlier panelist, Dr. Raut, as well as Dr. Sharma has spoken. And both were of the opinion that the Indian media's position, especially the television media, has gone down. But we would like to know from you the rise and fall of Indian media. Advocate Ramesh Kumar Sharma, please.
Yeah, Mr. Goyal, first I would like to give you thanks for selecting such an important and current topic, which is very much relevant to the future of democracy in India. Because of the media is said to be the fourth pillar of democracy, and it is the duty of the media to strengthen the democracy. Previously, media was doing this job, but as our two panelists has already said, nowadays, media is not doing this job. Rather, it is weakening the democracy of India. The media's role is very important because of media influences the shaping of political views of the public. Long back, Malcolm X has said that media is a most powerful institution because of it controls the minds of the public at large. The importance of media is very much, particularly in democratic countries. Even in British era, media has played an important role to affect the minds of the people against the Britishers. The role of media has become more important when our country got freedom and we adopted our constitution based on democracy. The freedom of India is guaranteed by our constitution, and it has been so decided many times by our Honorable Supreme Court. There is a restriction on the government to interfere in the freedom of press. Because of that, media owes some much more responsibility to have it at a correct size. But unfortunately, it is not there nowadays. Media is expected to give a correct news, that is, a complete news, not a incomplete news, not a incorrect news, or not a biased news. Previously, it was being done by the media And after the independence, investigative journalism also started in India. And due to this investigative journalism, so many scams were brought to the notice of the public. So many newspapers were there, but particularly one newspaper, as I am remembering, Indian Express, it has exposed so many inside stories in the government as well as in the judiciary. I am remembering one important thing with regard to judiciary, that in the morning edition of the day of the judgment of Kesavanan Bharti case, a big story was published by Indian Express with regard to the inside happenings of Honorable Supreme Court. And nothing else could be done because of the correctness of that story. And no one could object that story from the side of Supreme Court or from any other side. Due to all these reasons, media was being said to be the fourth pillar of the democracy. But now, as Dr. Bharat and Dr. Mukesh has said, this fourth pillar has become weakened. Or I would like to say, it has become dilapidated. It is not strengthening the democracy, rather it is weakening it. And I'm sorry to say that for last about 10 to 20 years, media has made itself to be a saleable commodity. And from that point, the decline in reputation of media has started. As Dr. Bharat has said, we have to separate two things: a viewership media, print media, and television media. Print media is comparatively better a little from the TV media. But this is a fact that television news channels are affecting public much more than the print media nowadays. Previously, it was not there when the 24 hours news channels were not there and newspapers were only there prior to that. But nowadays, it is just the opposite. It is the TV channels which are more controlling the effects of the, more controlling the minds of the public. And they have rotten themselves. And the main reason is that they have made themselves to be a saleable commodity. Nowadays, as Dr. Mukesh has said, this game of TRP is going on. This game of TRP is just to increase the cost of their salability. This is very important. This is nothing more. But everyone wants to raise their salability to realize much more by increasing the TRP, and they are doing each thing wrong or right for increasing their TRP. The present ruling party is also trying its best to control the media, and mostly it is successful. And the reason is that every ruling party knows it very well that through media, they can affect the public at large and they can frame the opinion of the public in their favor. So the present media, it is not doing that part which it should be, it should done. Rather, it is doing something else, and like a sycophancy of the government. I am using a hard word, but this is a fact. I would like to say, Dr. Bharat and Mr. Mukesh is coming out from the media fraternity itself, but I am simply a viewer and reader of the newspaper. I am having my views as a viewer and reader of the newspaper only. I am not coming from the inside of the media person. Now, another important aspect is that, as per my view, getting a correct news, it is a fundamental right of every citizen of India. This right is a part and parcel of the free life guaranteed by our constitution. But nowadays, this right is being violated by the media, and there is no control over the media by anyone. No self-restraint is there. The time has come now that there should be some regulation to check the misuse of the freedom of press. It is important. I am not saying that freedom of press is to be minimized. It is not to be minimized, but, or I should say rather, there should be some check and misuse the freedom of press. The time has come now. Until and unless this is being done, we cannot control the media by doing the wrong things. And the reason is that self-control system which was there previously, it has totally failed. No one is observing that self-control principle at all. Some people say nowadays that media is afraid of the government. But media has forgotten that jo dar gaya, so mar gaya. Anyway, media has to come out of this celebrity and this afraid of the government. And then only they can raise to the reputation which was previously there in our country. That's all initially.
Thank you very much, Advocate Sharma. Although I disagree in one way of Advocate Sharma, he says that there should be a control on the misuse of the freedom of media. But who is going to control? Ultimately, you are going to the same, whosoever will the ruling party, wherever, in whichsoever state or the center, if they have to control, then what is the difference between what you are saying that the ruling party wants that the mind to be, then they will be controlling only those media houses which are not doing their lines. So I think there should be either, there should be a election commission type of autonomous body for the media who can control them. Otherwise, if we have any other body, like whether we have CBI or ED or SEBI, they will be controlled by the government. And once they are controlled by the government, then we cannot have a free and fair media. But anyways, your views, which you have expressed, I'm sure it has enlightened further earlier by Dr. Raut and Dr. Mukesh Sharma, and now yours to our viewers. So now, thank you very much, Advocate Sharma, for giving your views. Today, I'm not summarizing because of the paucity of time, and the topic is such I want more and more views from you people in the second round. Now, I would like to go to the next panelist, and he is Advocate Trilok Nath Saxena. Advocate Trilok Nath Saxena is a practicing advocate in Supreme Court, Delhi High Court, Debt Recovery Tribunal and Debt Recovery Appellate Tribunal, National Company Law Tribunal and National Company Law Appellate Tribunal, SEBI Appellate Tribunal, etc. Advocate Trilok Nath Saxena, you have heard our earlier panelists, Dr. Raut, Dr. Sharma, Advocate Sharma, and now we would like to know from you the rise and fall of Indian media. Advocate Trilok Nath Saxena, please.
Thank you, Mr. Goel. First of all, I acknowledge the views which my fellow speakers has said. They have very pointedly pointed out whatever they have faced or whatever they have find out as within their experiences. Before proceeding further, I will simply say the power of media was recognized during our independence movement. Our great leaders started newspaper. That was the only media thing. Gandhiji was publishing Harijana. In the same manner, Gokhale was publishing a newspaper there, and Lala Lajpat Rai was publishing a newspaper. Later on, Nehruji was editing National Herald. There are scores of papers. That was the recognition of the media at that very time, that how can we put our views to the people of the country. That was the starting point. That was the when our leaders recognized the power of the media, through which they could have a dialogue with the people and they could have expressed their views to the people. But during those days, barring few, as Lala Lajpat Rai, I may say, all other were trained advocates. They were aware what is for the good of the people and what will not be for the good of the people. They have a very good conscious decisions about the news which they were, or views which they expressed through their medias at that time. Later on, this newspaper media expanded to the TV, and now scores of mushrooming of these TV channels has come down in the thing. In that reference, I am just quoting, because nowadays media people are not trained or aware about the constitutional restrictions which they have. and they feel they are free to say anything, any rubbish or anything which they wish they can say, because they have got a right of freedom of speech. That's the thing. It is such a right which we are seeing the people which are sitting on dharnas around the Delhis, which they are saying that right to protest is our fundamental right. It is not a fundamental right simply as guaranteed under Article 19 of our Constitution. It has restrictions under subclause 2 of Article 19 itself. During the course of our law classes, we were taught that if you are moving with a stick, you can roam around with your stick freely, but your freedom will come to an end when this stick touches the other person's body. So media has to restrict itself that what is free, up to which extent they are free. They have now, what Advocate Sharma has said, there must be a restrictions there. And I am sorry to say that media is now completely unregulated. As Mr. Lal Goyal said, that who will control, who will not control. Acts come. The media has to enact their own act, and they should propose to the government that under these things we will work. You pass an act, and if somebody disobeys it, he will get punishment from the court for it. So media does not want to get it regulated through those enactments also. I will just refer few of the judgments, instances of which our Supreme Court had considered. Initially, when our Constitution came, very first case was A.K. Gopalan's case, was the state of Madras. In that case, it was decided the fundamental rights must be seen in a watertight compartment. That was the initial observation of the Supreme Court about the fundamental rights. Later on, that view was changed by a 11-judge bench in R.C. Cooper versus Union of India, which was later on upheld by the Maneka Gandhi, wherein they said fundamental rights cannot be treated as a watertight compartments. So right to speech is always controlled by reasonable restrictions. And for those reasonable restrictions, there should be a reasonable law, which media should initiate, that this type of law we should require to be regulated by the parliament. Then parliament will debate over it, enact the law over it, then things will come into the picture. That is my first submission about it. Or next thing, I will refer.
You want to say further, Advocate?
Yes.
Please.
Yes. There were so many restrictions were imposed in different laws. As Mr. Goyal is aware of those things, I feel that he is very insightful about his subject. One of the things was, I am just referring a thing that during British time, when there was a Prison Act was there. In that Prison Act, there was a special provision during British time that if a person gets a life imprisonment, then he has to be kept in a solitary confinement. That was a judgment. That was the law over it. Later on, that was challenged before the Supreme Court by Mr. Sunil Batra versus Delhi administration. That was the case. And Supreme Court turned down the law to that section ultra vires to that extent, which give the solitary confinement to a person, because the right or liberty, which guaranteed the fundamental right, cannot be curtailed in such a manner. That's why I am saying that I am referring the thing in that very same way, that there should be a proper regulation over it. Till date, to my knowledge, subject to correction with my fellow speakers, there is no specific law over it. How the media has to be controlled over it. That's the biggest problem with me nowadays. Apart from it, I will just refer to things more in that reference. Every fundamental right is, pardon.
No, go ahead. Please go ahead.
has interrelation. Every fundamental right has media is not beyond. If we are at the fourth pillar, all the fourth pillar has to see how the other three pillars are working. If we upturn the fourth pillar, everything will fall. It has to be done. So in that reference, we have to be that fourth pillar has to be considered. Fourth pillar has to. One more thing I will say. In that reference, there was a first case where Sakal papers went to the Supreme Court. They said that there was their freedom cannot be curtailed by the law. So interpreting the freedom of speech, specifically in a newspaper case, the Supreme Court freedom of speech can be restricted only in the interest of security of the state, friendly relations with foreign state, public order, decency or morality, or in relation to contempt of court, defamation or incitement to an offense, which on 26th, some of the people knowingly or unknowingly quoted, or ultimately FIR has been lodged against some media people for their tweets or quoting of those things. Therefore, I say that legislation is very much required in this present scenario, so that media should be made liable for their misdeeds, for their things. Some people knowingly restrict the information for their vested purposes, I say. That's all I will say.
Okay, thank you very much, Advocate Saxena. And Advocate Saxena also advocates for the legislation to a restriction of the media's independence or media's freedom. So he says until that will not be curtailed, then the media, we cannot control the media and we cannot raise the standard of the media. Thank you very much, Advocate Saxena, for your views. Now, my question to Dr. Raut is, Dr. Raut, everybody knows, and it was always told that the media is the fourth pillar of democracy. But what has happened recently with the anchor of one of the channel and with a BARC CEO, the chats, it shows it has enhanced the image of media, because media has shown that what they have the knowledge, even other pillars are not knowing. So can we term now media as the first and the foremost pillar of democracy? Because that informations were only known to 5 or 6 people in the entire country of 1.4 billion people. And out of that, if the media person or the media anchor knows, so it shows that the image of media is such that even the top people can believe on the media than anyone else, whether it is the judiciary or the executive. After all, the legislature, only now, even the legislature is not knowing. So what you say about that, Dr. Raut, please?
It's a very, very tricky question for a person who is working for media all my life. But let me tell you that it cannot be the prime pillar. It cannot be the prime pillar. At the same time, it cannot be a subsidiary pillar. All the 4 pillars of democracy, judiciary, executive, administration, and press, are of the same size, same strength, and same responsibility. Unless that happens, this building of democracy will not stand. This is because, see, each pillar is of different character and different role to play. But all have to support democracy. For example, I'll just giving you the example of the media. We call it press. So this is because all other 3 pillars, judiciary, administration, and the parliament, they are constituted by a law. Particular law constitutes them, and they govern that. But media doesn't have that type of law, except the press law. There is our press council. There is no other legislation that regulates the day-to-day behavior of media. While judiciary you are in your enactments, they guide you. The administration definitely, executive, you know how they are guided, and also the parliament that is guided by certain rules, principles, and precedents. But media doesn't have that type of role. It doesn't have that type of guidance. At the same time, it doesn't have a specific role also. The role of media is to allow people to express their views freely, and therefore there is no such guideline for the media. Perhaps this is the only pillar. Though it is a part of the building, it stands slightly away from the building, but it supports, and therefore you cannot consider itself the prime pillar, at the same time the subsidiary pillar either. All are of equal size and strength, equal responsibility, and therefore I do not want to take them away from the rest of the three pillars.
But Dr. Raut, will you agree that whatsoever has happened in these chats or what's have been disclosed in the chats, because now it's a matter, it's in public domain, it's been submitted to the Bombay High Court. It is a positive side of the media or a negative side of the media, because so many sensitive things which I have read in my report also, that who is going to be in the cabinet, who will be out of the cabinet, and even the sensitive reports about our Balakot, the air strikes, etc. Is it a investigating positive side of the media, or it is something which is not a good media according to you?
See, there is nothing called good media or bad media. Whichever job the media does, it is for the good of the people, because people have the right to know. When you realize and we accept that every person in the country or in the world has a right to know, and to know is limitless, it is seamless. And if it is seamless right, then each and everything that is under the world has to be known to the people. And how do people know about it? Judiciary cannot come and tell this to people. The executives cannot go and tell this to people. Neither the other media can do it. Therefore, the media, the print media, television media, internet media, they are the only medium to take the information to the people. And if that is their duty, then they have to have some certain type of freedom. Now that again I'm talking about the freedom, you have to again define what is freedom. So I think that issue we are not touched, but I think this is, and I talk too much, so I don't think that is the right.
Okay, thank you.
We have another session for that.
Yes, Dr. Raut, definitely.
That the concept of media freedom has to be defined, and unless we define that concept, the rest of the issues cannot be discussed.
No, but my only pointed question to you is, whatsoever has happened in those chats, do you appreciate them or not?
I don't appreciate. Personally speaking, I don't appreciate those type of, because you are bullying to the people. And chat does not mean bullying. Chat is to give your opinion emphatically, to justify that. But without doing that, only that chat is not the competition to show the strength of your voice. And there are many channels, the participants, and mainly most unfortunately, the anchors. They only show the power of the throat for putting people down.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Raut. Now, my question goes to Dr. Sharma. Dr. Sharma, when we are talking and when you have spoken about one anchor, the anchor, if anchor of any media, I'm not saying a particular, if he tries to put an opinion in a very forcible manner, like I will just recall one, I will give you, you might be recalling, there was a school in Gurgaon, there was a murder took place of a student, and then one of the channel anchor mentioned very clearly that the chairperson of that school should be arrested. Although if this is the logic, then if any murder takes place in the country, then either the president or the prime minister of the India should be arrested. That is one logic. Other logic is, in that case, when they were harping upon on that it was some act by this fellow or that fellow, one bus conductor was arrested. And ultimately it was found that it is a student who has committed the murder by the CBI. Now, but what happened to the reputation and the position of the chairperson of that particular school. It has been tarnished, it has been ruined for months together till the time that CBI is not. Do you agree that we require such type of media, or it is enhancing the image or declining our image of media? Please unmute yourself.
That particular incident I remember very nicely, but before that I just want to say that you asked a tricky question with Dr. Bharat Kumar Raut, and Bharat Kumar Raut gave you a tricky answer. Had you asked a straight question, he would have given you a straight answer. Anyway, the thing is, yes, that incident I remember very well. And that same guy, I will not name it, he made his own television news channel and then he moved on. And because I know the family, I know the group, Rhine Group, the way the CEO was, you know, he was mercilessly, I would say, like his flesh was taken out, everything, his bones, he was splattered on the thing. And this guy said that he knows everything. He's aware of what has happened. Till, as you said, the CBI came into being and said, look, this is all wrong. It is not like this. Nothing has to, this was done by a schoolboy itself for whatever purpose it was. But as you say, the bad news comes on the front page. But when you give you know, when you try and say that, look, it was, sorry, we did a mistake, it come on the last page somewhere in the corner where you have other things, so nobody knows it. So what is lost is lost. So that is why I fully agree with Saxena ji. I fully agree with my advocate friends. Yes, this media needs lagam. That lagam is now out of our hands and everyone thinks that they are the boss. You see, I've got just a, I don't know whether it is right or wrong, but I'll just read it. You know, first in the Indian broadcast news industry, national news channel in English, India Today has taken a consulting editor, Rajdeep Sardesai, off air for 2 weeks, alongside deduction of a month's salary for posting a misinformed tweet stating a farmer was killed during the tractor rally held in National Capital Republic Day. However, reports have also stated that the anchor quit on his own. Whether it is right or wrong, I do not know. But this is what is happening. So it is now, lines are drawn. The lines are very clearly drawn, whether it's the government of the day holding the media or, you know, the opposition holding the media. This is my channel. This is your channel. We knew earlier very well. Today also, Times of India, well, it is a leaning towards the government. Indian Express, no, it is a leaning towards the opposition. So I don't, as a viewer, I don't get views clearly. What I should understand. Should I listen to this or should I? So the best thing is to hell with it. Close it. And that is the best thing which is happening for broadcast journalism, if you ask me now. That is why I'm saying they are making a lot of tom-tom. They are making a lot of noise. Look, we are also here. सड़क पे होता नहीं है, मदारी अपना बंदर बैठ जाता नाचने के लिए कि यार मैं भी भालू लेके आया हूँ. But people are not interested in that tom-tom now. If you don't give me the right news, I will try and get it. At least I still believe in newspapers, sir. What is coming in the newspaper today is whatever you say, they are doing the research work they are doing. So I fully rely on that. Next, I would rely on radio in the sense at least I will get something from the government. Right or wrong, I do not know. Till such time, radio is privatized. Just imagine if radio was also privatized, what would have happened in nook and corner of this country, which has so many thousand villages where television may not be there. People would be doing something, which is happening through broadcast also, if you ask me. Because the digital reach of the medium, it has reached there, the broadcast journalism is reaching every nook and corner. So it is a problem which cannot be handled easily, sir. You need, as you yourself said, something like an election commission. Saxena sir said that we need to have some regulations. Yes, we need to have, sir. ये देश में अभी we are not ready, maybe I would say. Our people are not ready. You and I may be ready today. लेकिन जहाँ जिस जगह हर कोस पे पानी बदलता है, जहाँ भाषा बदलती है, जहाँ पर लैंग्वेज बदलती है देश में, how do you expect everyone to behave the same way for the same situation? People will behave differently. So my thing is this: I would stick to it. You need some regulations. How do you go about, sir? I mean, we have intellectual advocates here; they can decide for us.
Dr. Sharma, you are quite knowledgeable about this, but if we compare this with the US, and we have seen in the last 4 years of the Trump administration how President Trump misbehaved and bullied the media, but the media has not bowed down, and they were doing their job independently.
No, you're talking about television media. I'm talking about digital media, which is now taking over, sir. The television media, to hell with it, but digital media is now going deep inside. And if we do not control that media now, forget TV.
Okay.
Because television is also going into digital norms now. It is not just TV alone.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Sharma. Now I would like to go to Advocate Ramesh Sharma. Advocate Sharma, do you think to celebrate the TRP due to the death of our army man is a normal practice of media? it has enhanced the image of media or not?
No, Mr. Goyal, I don't agree that producing or showing such type of news, it is raising the TRP. Certainly, there are some misconceptions in the mind of the media persons. But their misconceptions are to some extent successful because of their news, whatever they are broadcasting, it affects the minds of the public to some extent. And they are misusing this. As Mr. Mukesh Sharma has said, and Mr. Saxena has also said, I agree with you on that point, that there should be some regulation, maybe like that of Election Commission. But regulation is must. Rightly, Mukesh Sharma said, lagam lagana avashyak hai. Mr. Raut want to say something?
Yeah,
please.
Yeah, Dr. Raut, you want to say something?
Sorry for interruption, but let me only say that there are regulations. There are regulations to control media. There are press laws and there are defamation laws. And so if someone invokes those type of laws, then media can be regulated. It is not that media has no control. Media has control by the government, by the judiciary, but it has to be used very, very sensibly. That's what I want to say.
Dr. Raut, I will add, recently we have seen there was a defamation notice has been served to one of the anchor of Times Now by the other anchor because she has given the details how those 40 soldiers' death has been celebrated by that anchor in the TRP, which he has chatted with the CEO. So, so the defamation is working for against the journalist.
So I don't want to go case by case. There could be different merits on each case. But I'm saying that it is not that the media is not controlled by laws. The laws of the nation, they are controlling each and everything. Even the media is controlled by law. But
sir, those laws are insufficient, sir. Those laws are insufficient.
They are
ineffective also.
Ineffective too. They are
ineffective also. Press Council of India, if you must know. Press Council of India, in anything that does not go to the court of law, they can go to the Press Council of India. And Press Council of India has a semi-judiciary powers. The two advocates in the panel.
Bharatji, I just want to say, why are we not talking about newspaper? क्योंकि newspaper उतनी गलतियां नहीं कर रहा है जितना कि टेलीविजन कर रहा है, बाकी मीडिया कर रहे हैं, वो लाइटली ले रहे हैं. न्यूज़पेपर को एक शुरू से एक आदत है सीधे चलने की. इनको यह है कि हम सांड है खुले. We are going to go like this. Control करो तो कर लो.
And I think I will tell you one thing. The newspaper, one person reads in the morning, correct. So it is there. That is the impact. But it is a 24/7 whole day. If the same, like Dr. Raut has mentioned, that if the same story is repeated again and again every 15 minutes, definitely the impact will be far more than a newspaper report, because the newspaper you can read in the morning and the day you are working, so you have not that much impact. But whenever you are viewing that television or any channel, and if you are watching the same thing again and again, it is going to impact you more. That's why we are talking about the television, because it is the reason, as you both have said, everybody is agreed that the newspaper is not that, it's not in that declining condition as the television.
गोयल जी, मैं लास्ट एक बात कहूंगा, टेलीविजन का रूप भी अब बदल रहा है. वो आपके घर में घुस रहा है थ्रू डिजिटल, थ्रू अदर फॉर्म्स, बट लोग वही हैं, सिर्फ कैरेज बदल जाएगा. तो जब तक वो रहेगा, तो आई एम मोर वरीड अबाउट 130 करोड़ चैनल इन ईच एंड एवरी हाउस वेयर एवरीवन इज अ न्यूज़ पर्सन. वही अखबार वाला है, वही बेचता है, वही अपलोड करता है, वही. That is the worry I am concerned.
Okay.
That is वो खुला है. It has to be, something has to be done, sir. Lawyers are here. They should guide us.
Okay.
Mr. Goel, I would like to add a little.
Yes, please.
Mr. Raut has just said about judiciary. In 70s, our judiciary was able to control the ill will of the politicians by so many judgments. So many acts or constitutional amendments were passed by the parliament, and they were declared unconstitutional by our honorable Supreme Court. But that scenario is no more there nowadays. I am sorry to say that our third pillar, which is judiciary, it has also become weakened itself. It is not so strong as it was in previous days. So nowadays, much expectation cannot be there from this third pillar also.
Okay, Advocate Sharma, that is
why that is the reason I'm adding one thing, that the intellectual class of the country is nowadays worried about the future of democracy in India.
Okay, okay. Thank you very much, Advocate Sharma. That is a topic which we will discuss sometime again.
I add something.
Last question to you, Advocate Saxena, is you have heard the 2G scam, coal scam, all were good to see in media trial, but in courts it failed. But why we require courts? When the media trial has already declared them guilty, why we require courts today? Media has declared them guilty, they have been ruined, their career has been ruined, their reputation has been ruined, and ultimately we found nothing. But it might be that, so what do you say now when we are talking about the judiciary?
Okay, then I will say something there. That question is also very tricky to that sense. Yes, I agree.
See, I will tell you one thing.
I will just elaborate.
No, I will just tell you, I have to keep the questions tricky, because otherwise tomorrow I may also have been served a defamation notice of 50 crores.
I will answer it. I am going to answer it. Yes, it's tricky in the sense, but the plain answer is
He's also afraid of the government.
No.
One has to be.
What
yes,
I am submitting about replying to your question is, in 2G scam, the judgment was based upon only one finding, that there is no actual gain, which is the basis of convicting a person, that he must have gained something unduly. That for that very purpose, their lawyers were able to establish that nothing has been gained by anybody, that everything was hypothetically. For that very purpose, the 2G scam was failed in the court to convict the so-called accused, although media has done to that extent. For that, I have some reservations about the court's view. Although court has held it and it has been upheld up to the High Court, I think so. Further, there is nothing. I will add something. There is a misconception about the freedom of speech, which our Honorable Supreme Court has said in Shreya Singhal's case, that 66A is taking down of IT Act. I will just refer 7-8 lines from that judgment. What is the difference between US law, what our Supreme Court considers about the freedom of the expressions, and the difference in law in our courts under Article 19? What is the thing? First Amendment of, I'm quoting from the Supreme Court of Shreya Singhal's, in para 15 of that day, First Amendment of the US Constitution, when contrasted with Article 19(1)A of the Indian Constitution, the Supreme Court carefully notes, firstly, the absoluteness, which is exhibited in the language of US First Amendment, when it states that Congress shall make no law which abridges the freedom of speech. It was secondly noted that while the American Constitution speaks of freedom of speech and press without reference to expression, whereas Article 19(1)A refers to freedom of speech and expression without any reference to press. It was observed thirdly that the US Constitution speech may be abridged, while under the Constitution of India, reasonable restrictions may be imposed. And fourthly, that under the Constitution of India, the restrictions have to be approximately related to the eight designated subjects matters set out in Article 19(2). 2 lines from para 18 I will refer. What the Supreme Court says, the American judgments have great persuasive value on the content of freedom of speech and expression.
Advocate Saxena,
for its infringement. It is part of it.
Please conclude.
It will only when it comes to subserving the general public interest, that there is the word of a difference with Indian law. That I will close my things.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks, because of the paucity of time. So today you have seen the views of the experts of their field.
I know it's a short of time.
And they have mentioned very, very yes. clearly that the media has lost their credibility in recent times. And because they almost agree that this credibility is only basically in the television, not the news, not in that newspapers. The newspaper still have some credibility left, but the newspaper, according to them, the credibility of the television news have reached to the rock bottom. And we have to be very, very careful, because after all, we are making our opinions based on what we are watching the television news. So that it leaves to you all the viewers how you take it, but these are the views expressed by our very, very learned panel. Thank you all. And today's program has been live telecasted by V4 News, Global TV, V4 Stream, Malnadu TV, Newsgaon se Samvad Sarokar News, as well as it was shown live on Facebook and YouTube. And our endeavor to bring to you every day very, very serious topic. But tomorrow being Sunday, it's a edutainment day, that is educational entertainment. And tomorrow, the topic or the program is Swaranjali, and our singer is Mr. Kailash Hare Krishna Das. He's a renowned singer, writer, and composer joining from Nagpur. So please tune in tomorrow for media conference with Lal Goyal at 10:30 a.m. Thank you very much, Dr. Rao. Thank you very much, Dr. Sharma. Thank you very much, Advocate Sharma, as well as thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much,
Advocate Saxena. And thank you all the viewers for watching our show. Thank you very much.